Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. For those of you who are new, hi, my name is Stephanie. I'm a 28-year-old Canadian who moved to Germany, and I make videos about my life here in Germany, mostly vlogs, but I also make videos like this about just different topics that I think might be interesting or interesting to share some of my perspectives. If you like videos like this, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below. Today's video is actually part 2 of a 2-part series. I released the first part a couple of weeks ago, and it is talking about things that I like about Germany and things that I don't like so much about Germany. Nowhere is perfect. I think, anyone who's seen my videos can tell that I do really enjoy life here. I'm really happy here, but nowhere is perfect. And there are some things that I think are, a lot better in Canada. And I thought in today's video I'd share, if you're interested in seeing part 1, which is the things that I really enjoy in Germany, I'll put a link, I'm not sure if it'll be here or here. I'll put a link to that video so you can see that one as well. So just wanted to put that out there that I really do enjoy Germany. There are some things, just a couple little things that could be better. Am I going to take a plane right now, go to Canada and leave because of these things? No, but they're just little things that I think could be better and that are better in Canada. So just like I've done with the last video, I have broken down today's video in 5 sections, 5 main things that I think are better in Canada. And the first one I'm going to start with is convenience. What do I mean by convenience? I mean a couple of different things. I'm really having a hard time getting used to in Germany is the fact that most places don't take credit card. In Canada, and I think in so many places in the world, credit card is king. You want to pay something, they're going to take credit card. For the most part, if you go to a restaurant, if you go to a store, almost everyone takes credit card, and here that's not the case. A lot of places don't even take debit. So you really have to be prepared with cash when you go out with your friends. You always basically have to be carrying cash around with you when you're in Germany, just because so many places don't take credit or debit. But when I'm talking about convenience, I'm not just talking about having to use cash. I'm also talking about convenience in buying things when you need them. So for example, they don't really have a lot of stores that kind of have everything. Let's say you need to get some Advil, you need to get some food, you need to get some shampoo and stuff like that. The grocery stores are generally really small, so you might have some things like shampoo or toothpaste, but so you can get that when you get your food, but you cannot buy any drugs, not even Advil, anywhere other than an apothecary. Not like a drugstore, like somewhere where you get like makeup and they do have drugstores, but you can't buy drugs at them, not even what we consider to be over the counter. So you actually have to go literally to a pharmacy, like a pharmacist, to get those kind of things. So that's really, really inconvenient. One thing I will say about this that I think is kind of good is that there's less chance or there's fewer opportunities for major corporations to kind of be the one and only option. There are a lot of small business owners here, which I think is really nice. That being said, if you have a headache and you want to get like a couple things done really quickly, it's kind of inconvenient to have to go to a bunch of different places to get that done. What makes it even more inconvenient is that a lot of stores close early. So if you don't go by like 6 p.m., you can't buy anything. And even worse, closed on Sundays. If you have a headache on Sunday and you don't already have Advil, you are out of luck. Some places seem to have kind of emergency pharmacies, like they have a doorbell. So maybe if someone answers, you can buy things on a Sunday or after hours, for example, but it's not the norm and it's not very reliable. And they do have like a web search of where you can find these pharmacies, like emergency pharmacies they call them, but it's not clear to find this information. So be prepared to bring your own drugs. So like Advil, Pepto-Bismol, Tylenol, those kind of things, you cannot buy them anywhere but a pharmacy, and pharmacies and all other grocery stores anyway are closed on Sundays. So make sure that you have what you need when you need it. So in that way, Germany isn't as convenient as Canada. The second thing on my list is bureaucracy. And this one's kind of hard because I can't even say that bureaucracy in Canada is great. We still do have a lot of things that we have to do in preparation for, whatever. There are still a lot of bureaucratic steps. So the next thing on my list is bureaucracy. And bureaucracy is Something that I find very, very challenging here. It's confusing, there's not a lot of information available online, and nothing is centralized. You have to go in for one particular thing, go there, and like there's so many different offices that you have to go to for whatever you're going to. And to be honest, like I don't even have that much bureaucracy that I should be needing to do. Like I don't have a driver's license here, like all those different things, but I still have to go for quite a few number of things. When you move to Germany, you have to register your address. You have to register your address absolutely every time you move. And it's not a matter of changing it online. You actually physically have to go to the, I don't know, I can't remember what it's called, but there's a particular office that you have to go to, and I'll put the name down here, and you have to register a new address. If you're changing your address from an old German address, you have to bring the paperwork from that address to the new address. You have to do this before you're allowed to get a bank, your residence permit, all these different things depend on this, but sometimes it's very difficult to get things like a residence if you don't have things like the bank. Like, you know, they fight each other, and it's really, really annoying here. I think in Canada, it's a lot easier to get these things done, and you can do a lot of these things online. In Canada, we have, or at least in Ontario, we have service centers. So if you need something for the federal government or from the Ontario government, it's all kind of done in one place. It's done in a hub, and there's a lot of things that you can do online. In Germany, there is a whole different building. There's a whole different office for every little single thing you have to do. There's a foreigner's office for things like your resident permit, citizen services for things like registering your address, and whatever else comes with that, which is not totally clear. The only thing I've been able to do online so far is to register to be to the city, which you also have to do. There's a tax office that you have to go to, a very special building for the taxes that you have to go to, and you have to go to all these different buildings to do very similar things, but you have to go do all of them, and you have to kind of just know where you're going. So it's really frustrating, and it's really annoying to have to go to so many different places, and it's not like they're close together. These places are like across the city. They're all over the city. So thankfully, it's not a big city. It's easy to get around. It's just really annoying instead of doing something online or just doing something all at once or something kind of like things that make sense to go together. Like, why wouldn't they go together? They don't. And things that are supposed to go together, like for example, when you register your first address, they're supposed to send you a tax number, which takes 6 weeks. Everyone I've spoken to, even though it says they're supposed to send you a tax number, after 6 weeks, don't get the tax number. You wait 6 weeks, and then you find out you're not going to get one, so you have to apply for one, which takes 6 weeks. So you're just waiting so long for something to happen, and everything has to be by mail. You can't just go to the tax office and say, hey, what's my tax number? You can't just go online or call someone and say, what's my tax number? You just have to wait. I know I said there's no order to anything in this, but I have to say that's like the worst. I can't stand that, so I take it all back. The worst thing is bureaucracy. Okay, moving on. The next thing that I have on my list is the length of contracts. And what do I mean by contracts? I mean things like rental agreements, phone services, cable services, that kind of thing. Now, I know in my previous video I said that the prices here are really, really good compared to Canada, and I stand by that. The prices are really, really good. Can't complain about that. What I can complain about, though, is the length of the contracts. Let me start with what I mean by length. I mean two things by length. The first thing is literally the length of time. So most like phone plans, rental agreements, that kind of thing in Canada are for 1 year. 1 year, and then you're month to month, which means that you can pay on a monthly basis and cancel basically with a 2-month notice. In Germany, most rental agreements are 2 years. Most phone contracts, if you're not on pay-as-you-go, I am on pay-as-you-go, are 2 years as well. Things like for internet and that kind of thing are for 1 year, but it doesn't end up going month to month. It ends up going for another year if you don't cancel like 3 months in advance. So you really have to plan out your dates, because you could be signing up for a whole nother year of service. So by that sense, I mean contracts here are lasting a really long time. And I have heard a lot of stories of people who didn't realize this or forgot about it and were used to the way in Canada, and they just ended up having to pay for like a year of service. And that really sucks, even though it's cheap. I mean, if you're not even using it, who wants to pay for an extra year of services? Disclaimer, a lot of people have said that if you have a valid reason for exiting a contract, which could include moving for a job, then the length of the contract is void. I have heard a lot of Germans say that. However, I imagine for someone who isn't fluent, it could be very hard for them to do and a very difficult process for them to understand how to get out of. So that's what I mean by the length is in terms of duration of contracts. But then there's also this other part, and I can only really speak specifically to the rental part of this because I didn't really read that much of our other agreements because I kind of got the overall gist of it. The rental contract we had in Canada was 3 pages long. It listed out the important things, the price you pay, the interest, that kind of like the price you pay, the deposit, the important things that you need in the contract. In our German rental agreement, it was 100 pages long. It was 100 pages long, and it was 100 pages in German. There was rules for like, you should try not to shower at nighttime because the pipes might be like loud. If you have a balcony, which we don't have a balcony, like it had all these different rules. It had house rules, it had garden rules, it had all of the rules you can imagine, and like so many things that are not relevant to our apartment. They're not relevant to us. And I know a lot of people, like we did have some German friends who were very kind and looked it over for us and helped us understand what it said. And they kind of said like, oh, it's better to have it in the agreement than not to have it in the agreement. And I guess that's true, but it is kind of stressful to go into a rental, like trying to get the rental period, like trying to start a rental and then seeing this massive document and trying to understand everything and make sure that you know what you're agreeing to. So thankfully we have friends who speak German very well, but I could see that as being really frustrating for someone who doesn't have that option. I think my next one is some people are going to find my next one really strange, just because it's not something I've heard people complain about so much. I'm not complaining. Who's complaining? And this might not just be applicable to Germany, it could be more Europe-wide, I think, but something that I really don't like here is the amount of smoking. You can always smell it, like people walk by our apartment and you can smell the smoke, or people smoke in the backyard and you can smell the smoke. And it's not like in Canada where they're not allowed to smoke in front of buildings or smoke on patios. And sorry, by Canada I mean Ontario, but I think this is pretty standard. But here it's totally acceptable to smoke in front of any building, on the patios. I don't know, I just find it really smells bad, and I don't like having it. I don't like that people smoke outside of our building, so sometimes I feel like, oh, what if it's gonna get into the walls of the furniture and they're gonna smell like smoke all day, especially when you're drying clothes outside. So I don't know, it's just a small thing. You'll also find here, it's very strange, they have a lot of cigarette vending machines all over the city, as well as cigarette ads. Almost no one here vapes, but a lot of people do smoke. Okay, and finally the last thing I want to mention is something that I noticed really early on that is definitely better in Canada and the US, is customer service. Customer service in Germany is absolutely no match to customer service in Canada or the US. I think they find that the customer service that we're used to is fake. They think that people are being disingenuous if they have to like if they're smiling or if they're being helpful. And I don't know, maybe it's true. I worked in customer service and I was definitely smiling and trying to be helpful. To me personally, I wasn't being fake. It's not like I was so happy to be there, but I was happy to be helpful to people. So I don't think it's fake. And it's not to say that no one here does that, but it's very rare. Like when you go to the grocery store, if you don't load your groceries quick enough, they kind of stare at you like this, like, hurry up, I don't have all day. Well, they're putting your groceries through the scanner. They're kind of like just throwing it towards you, and you just put it in your cart. Like you don't even have time to bag it. You put it in your cart and then you bag it away from the cashier because they're on a deadline, and it's just a whole different experience. They're not mean people, it's just a different way of thinking. They're not there for the customer, they're there for scanning the groceries. And things with wait staff, I would say wait staff is a little bit different. I would say they're a little more friendly, but like not really that much. They're not mean, they're going to take your order, they're gonna put it through, they're gonna bring you what you ordered, and they're not gonna come back until you flag them down. It's not like in Canada where they kind of check on you to make sure that everything's good. They just don't come until you have to kind of call for them. You're not getting the same level of attention, and also I think there's a lot less wait staff for the number of people. So waitresses and waiters definitely aren't as customer oriented. That being said, you don't leave large tips like you do in Canada, US, because they are making a living wage. So it's not that big of a deal. I do just miss the level of customer service that we do get in Canada. For a Canadian coming here, they might think the customer service people are being rude. But if a German were to go to Canada, US, they probably would think that the customer service person is being fake. So it's just a cultural difference that we accept and move along with. So that has been a long list of the things that I prefer in Canada, having lived in Germany now for 6 months. And if you liked today's video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can be notified of my new videos. Hope you have a great day, guys. Bye.